All right, let's talk about the sky. Ever look up at the clouds and just get a feeling? Like they're trying to tell you something? Well, you're not wrong. They are. And today, we're going to learn their language. Seriously, by the time we're done here, you'll be able to read the sky like a book. And I mean, really look at them. You know, from those lazy, puffy cotton balls on a perfect summer day to those dark, kind of angry blankets that roll in right before a storm. It totally feels like they have a story to tell, right? Well, it turns out they do. And here's the best part. It's a language you can actually learn. It's not just random chaos up there. There's a real system to it all. A system that can literally help you predict whether you need to grab an umbrella or if it's the perfect day for a picnic, just by looking up. So, how do we go about cracking this code? Well, it all starts with learning the basic grammar. The system that scientists use to name and classify pretty much every single cloud you'll ever see. And for that, we have to go back to 1803 and thank a naturalist named Luke Howard. This guy looked up at that seemingly chaotic sky and realized it could all be organized with just a handful of Latin words. I mean, he created a system so elegant and simple that it's still the foundation we use today. It's basically our dictionary for the language of the clouds. And here's the secret. It sounds complicated, but this whole system boils down to just two super simple ideas. What a cloud looks like, that's its form, and where it is in the sky, that's its height. That's it. Form and height. Literally every cloud gets its name from some combination of just those two things. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the three basic shapes. Then we'll take an upward journey through the atmosphere, meeting the cloud families at each level. We're talking low, middle, and high. We'll wrap things up with the absolute giants that span all the levels. And don't worry, I'll leave you with a handy guide to pull it all together.
All right, first things first, let's meet the three fundamental building blocks. Think of these as the primary colors of the sky. Pretty much every cloud you see is either one of these or some kind of mix and match combination of them. First up, meet Cirrus. This comes from a Latin word for curl, which is perfect. You'll see these way up there. They're the highest, most delicate, feathery clouds you can find, and they're made entirely of tiny ice crystals. Now, seeing them usually means good weather, for now, but they're also often the very first hint that a weather system is heading your way in the next day or so. Next up, Cumulus. In Latin, that means heap or pile, and you can totally see why. These are the absolute classic puffy clouds we all drew as kids, right? They look just like floating cotton balls, and you'll notice they usually have these distinct flat bottoms and puffy dome-shaped tops. And to round out our trio, we have Stratus. The name means layer, and that's exactly what they are. These are those gray, kind of featureless sheets that can cover the entire sky like a big, dreary blanket. They might bring a little light drizzle or a few snowflakes, but you're rarely going to get anything heavy from them. So, let's recap real quick. Cirrus are the wisps, Cumulus are the heaps, and Stratus are the layers. If you can get those three down, you've basically just learned the fundamental grammar of the sky. Simple as that. Okay, you've got the shapes. Now let's add the second part of our code, height. We basically slice the sky into three main levels. You've got your low clouds hanging out below about 2,000 meters. Then your middle clouds from 2,000 up to 6,000 meters. And finally, the high clouds, soaring way up there above 6,000 meters. All right, let's start our climb. We're going to begin at the bottom, in the realm of the low clouds, the ones that are closest to us here on the ground. So down here, we start seeing combinations of those basic forms. You've got regular stratus, that flat layer. Then you get stratocumulus, and see how the name just tells you what it is? It's lumpy cumulus clouds all spread out in a stratus layer. And then there's nimbostratus. Now here's a key word for you, nimbus. Anytime you see nimbus or nimbo in a cloud name, it means rain. And these guys, these are the classic, steady, all-day-long rain clouds. Okay, let's keep climbing. Now we're entering that middle altitude range, hanging out between about 2,000 and 6,000 meters up in the sky. And here's a fantastic little shortcut for you. Any cloud with the prefix alto in its name, it belongs right here in this middle family. Alto is just Latin for middle. Super easy to remember, right? So what do we find here? Well, there's Altocumulus. Those are puffy cumulus clouds at a middle altitude. People sometimes call them sheepback clouds. And then you've got Altostratus, which is just a stratus layer at middle altitude. They're the ones that create that grayish veil where the sun kind of looks dim or watery behind it. Quick tip, when you see these start to thicken up, it's often a good sign that some widespread, steady rain is on the way.
Let's keep going. We're now ascending to the highest reaches of the troposphere, way up above 6,000 meters. It's freezing cold up here and the air is super thin. And up here, everything has Cirrus in its name, which clues you in to their icy nature. You've got your classic cirrus clouds, those delicate mare's tails. Then there's Cirrostratus. This is a super thin veil of ice crystals that creates those amazing halos you sometimes see around the sun or the moon. And finally, Cirrocumulus, which makes this beautiful, rippling pattern often called a mackerel sky. You know, what's so cool about this is how long people have been reading these signs. Check out this old mariner's saying. It shows that sailors knew for centuries that seeing a mackerel sky and mare's tails was a pretty reliable sign that a storm was brewing. Okay, so we've covered the low, middle, and high clouds, but finally we've got the rule breakers, the ones that don't like to stay in one lane. These are the clouds of vertical development. We're talking about the towering giants of the sky. And you can see their whole life cycle right here. It often starts out as just a harmless, puffy little fair-weather cumulus cloud. But if the conditions are right, if the air is unstable and you've got warm, moist air shooting upwards, that little puff can grow and grow, becoming a towering cumulus congestus. And if it keeps growing, it transforms into the king of all clouds, the mighty Cumulonimbus, the thunderstorm cloud. And when I say mighty, I am not kidding. These clouds can stretch up to 20 kilometers, that's about 12 miles, into the sky. To put that in perspective, that is taller than 2 Mount Everests stacked on top of each other. These things are true atmospheric powerhouses, responsible for heavy rain, lightning, hail, the whole works. Okay, let's pull all of this together. Here it is, your official sky reading cheat sheet. Feel free to pause here if you want to take a closer look. You can see each cloud, its family, and its key feature all laid out. And you can really see the pattern now, right? Cirrus for high clouds, Alto for middle, and Nimbus for rain. This is basically everything you need to get started.
Because really, the sky is always telling a story. It's this massive, beautiful, constantly changing weather forecast that's totally free for everyone to see. And now, you've got the tools to start reading it. So the only question left is, what story is the sky going to tell you tomorrow? Go on, look up.